super. Pammy was super on beam. Luci had a little trouble on beam. The event that sometimes does give Luci trouble, bars, was her best. So it's up for grabs. We'll just have to wait and see, too.
All right, I hope you'll wait and see. This is semifinal competition. The winner here advances to the finals. So don't go away. We have 6 events for the men, 4 for the women, still to come. It's not a gym with crystal chandeliers dangling from the ceiling. This is the United States Gymnastics Federation Single Elimination Championship. Stacy Maloney against Scott Johnson. Floor exercise, our first event. Maloney advanced by defeating Mark Casso in the preliminary rounds. Scott Johnson defeating Steve Marino. So there's Maloney against Johnson, and one of these two will survive for the finals. Right now you are looking at Scott Johnson, 9.65, his score on the floor exercise event in the first round.
Leandra Scott's been a great success story ever since he started his collegiate career. University of Nebraska junior. He's been on 2 NCAA championship teams. And here he is in one of his best events. Round-off flip-flop, full twisting double back, really high. Just easy for Scott. Did it so well. Comes back, round-off flip-flop, high pike double back, a little bit under-rotated, steps forward. Forward roll to a straddle stand. Presses up to handstand, fulfilling that requirement. You have to show strength in the exercise, and he does. There's a full twist dive roll, straddle jump, punch front, 1 1/4 somersault. Now to a split, showing flexibility and suppleness. Another requirement, you show flexibility in exercise, a Stalder roll up. Turns out, pirouettes out. Now preparing for his dismount. Round-off flip-flop. High tuck double back. Nice exercise. He had to jump forward. He's a little bit under-rotated on that double back. Probably cost him a 1/10 or 2 on the dismount, but good exercise for Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson at one time receiving a 9.65 for that routine. Had a little bit of trouble on some of the tumbling moves. Let's take another look.
We get a chance to see a real dynamite tumbling pass here. Round-off flip-flop. High pike double back. Slightly under-rotated. That's why he had to step forward. Now the last pass, round off, flip-flop, high tuck double back, spins it in good shape, but just puts his feet a little bit behind him. Didn't quite put his feet underneath, so was caused to jump forward a few feet.
9.5 is the score that Scott Johnson received for that performance. So not quite his best performance in the single elimination, but certainly a very respectable one, and will definitely put the pressure on Stacy Maloney. In the first round, he received a 9.35 for his floor routine. But again, we can't always use that as a measure, just an idea of how he scores in an event.
Stacy's mount, round-off flip-flop, pike double back, very well done. Prone into the corner. Former graduate of Iowa State University. Comes back, round-off double back, backward roll out. A little bit overturned on that. Down to a split. Stacy is a graduate student at the University of Illinois in business administration. Performing his press, stoops down, next tumbling pass, pike front step out, round off, full twisting back somersault, step out. Doing a nice job so far. Scale, fulfilling the combination requirement of a balance and whole part. Preparing for his dismount, round off back handspring, double twisting back somersault. Good exercise for Stacy. Just one little bobble, Leandra, and that was when he did his round off double back. That was the second pass, and he was slightly over rotated, so he rolled out of it.
So that roll was not intentional, I should say, something added to accommodate the overspin. All right, let's take a look at his last tumbling pass.
Round off, flip flop, double twisting back somersault, good height, good form, looking for the landing, nice landing, just a little bit of a hop. Good start for Stacy in this competition. Here he is in a flexibility part, showing his movement into his press. Press handstand shows strength, balance, and hold. Moving very smoothly, fulfilling the requirement.
His score for that performance, 9.30. Scott Johnson, 9.5, so there is 2/10 of 1 point difference now between these two gymnasts. We'll be back with more gymnastics competition in just a moment. Pammy Bileck will challenge Luci Collins in the women's events. Collins for Bileck. Luci Collins and Bileck advanced by beating Sandy Zabatka for Bileck, and Lisa McVeigh was defeated by Luci Collins, so it's Collins against Bileck, and of course one of these two ladies will advance into the final competition. Now, Luci Collins has already vaulted once. Her coach, Don Peters, had this advice for her before her second vault.
It was a good vault. It was a very good vault. You're trying to land with stiff legs, okay, and you ended up sitting back on it. Bend your knees and stick, okay? It's a good vault. Do it again.
And after the coach told her to bend her knees, this is what Luci Collins did.
Luci has a good hard run here, preparation for the vault. Good hurdle, pushes off real hard of the horse, nice extended body, pulls her body around, looking for the landing, bends her knees, little step back. Good jump for Luci Collins.
A very little step back. Her score, 9.40. She listened to her coach because her first vault was 9.35. Tammy Bileck is ready to vault now.
And a very difficult full twisting Sukahara. Pushes off the horse in the Sukahara vault, full twist, good landing, one little hop backwards, very nice vault for Pammy Bileck.
The best score she received for her two vaults, 9.55. So Pammy Bileck takes a slight lead over Luci Collins after women's vaulting. 0.15 the difference. Stacy Maloney and Scott Johnson are ready to compete on the pommel horse. You're looking at Scott Johnson, who holds a 0.2 of 1 point lead going into this event. Scott earlier scored a 9.4.
Couple of pommel loops, travels down to the end of the horse, hops back in, back more to the end. Now into the flare movement, travels to the center with the flare. Nice leg work. Scott is very improved on the pommel horse. It's getting to be one of his better events. Picks back up into circles. Back more down to the end. And a flare handstand off. Nice routine for Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson certainly setting up a tough act to follow for Stacy Maloney. Receiving congratulations from his teammates. Had a good job. I didn't see any major flaws with that performance.
Not at all. Here's the scissor combination that Scott uses, requiring a lot of upper body strength and also the ability to maintain that momentum, keep those legs swinging. Picks back up into circles, back more down to the end, back more up, right into a flare handstand dismount. Very nice exercise, Scott Johnson.
And Scott Johnson received, there you see it, 9.60 for that performance. Stacy Maloney received a 9.15 in the first round. He needs about a 9.9 if he's to take the lead at this point, but that's not really his goal. His goal is just to stay close at this point in the competition.
Half circle Bailey, very nice. Travels out to the end, picks back up. This is Stockleyan without the pommels, very nice. Nice flare combination by Stacy. Now his scissor combination. Good form, good swing, picks back up into circles. Russian on one pommel, walks all the way out to the end without the pommels, hop on the end, and a nice flare off. Good routine for Stacy Maloney. He's hanging tough in there, Leandra.
Was a very good routine. I noticed he had some different moves that we haven't seen before, at least not out of Scott Johnson. Let's hope the judges keep those in mind when they score him.
Here are his flare scissors, undercut there. Coming back, good extension, good form. Now, good high scissor, front scissor, front scissor. Look at the hands reaching for the pommels, making sure he has a good grip. Picks back up into circles. Couple circles before he stays back in. Good combination. Moves out to the end of the horse without the pommels. Hop on the end.
Now his legs look a little bit low there. Is he going to be penalized for that?
Not really. Maybe a little bit, but probably not.
So that is not considered a major flaw in a pommel horse routine. 9.4, very good score. Stacy Maloney losing by just 0.2 of a point to Scott Johnson in the pommel horse competition. We still have quite a contest going on between those two. Getting back to the women's competition, 0.15, the difference between Luci Collins and Pammy Bileck as they move into the uneven parallel bars. And that is Luci Collins in the chalk bucket.
Luci was a member of the 1980 Olympic team and competes for the Scats. They're located in Huntington Beach, California. They're coached by Don Peters, who was also the 1984 Women's Olympic Gymnastics coach.
Luci Collins, in earlier competition, received a 9.6 on this event. Let's see if we can hear what her coach is telling her. And evidently, he's finished giving her advice, and the judges have given her the green flag, so it's time to perform.
She's preparing for her mount, jumps in, stoops her legs through her hands, endo shoot out. A little bobble there. Leg shoot through, kips up to the top bar. So free hip circle to handstand. Toe on, toe off, right back to handstand. Belly whip. Nice Kreiskehr. Hip catch. Kips up to the top bar. Cast up. Free hip, right to the handstand. Toe on, pike front. Nice exercise, Luci Collins. She had a little bobble at the beginning. Normally she does that inside circle and then comes up to a handstand, but nothing serious. We get a chance now to see the maneuver, the Kreiskehr skill. Comes out, good part. Comes through here, puts her feet on the bar at the end, pushes off, nice pike, good landing, good finish, Luci Collins.
She really held a beautiful handstand going into that dismount, too. A lot of extension in her performance there. She's removing her grip so the judges are calculating her score. The judges cannot, even if they know the routine, cannot judge what they expect to see. They have to judge what they do see.
That's correct.
You were a former judge. Isn't that hard to do?
Yes, it is, especially if you know that they ended up doing something that they didn't plan. Even if it looks very smooth and very controlled, you have a tendency to penalize the athlete, which obviously isn't fair.
All righty, 9-4-0, the score for Luci Collins, and Don Peters is doing double duty. He is also coaching this young lady, Bileck. So it's a little hard to split your heart as to who you want to win. Once again, the score for Luci Collins on the bars, 9.4. But he's got to worry about Bileck now. He can't be patting Luci on the back for her good job.
But of course, being the Olympic coach, Don's worried about U.S. gymnastics. So that's why he's in the position that he's in.
Mm-hmm. .930 is what Bileck received in the first round of this event.
Pammy jumps, straddle over the low bar, up to the high bar. Stalled her, very nice. Belly whip, nice Kreiskehr move. Kip catch. Kips up to the top bar, front hip circle. Cast a handstand, pirouette. Comes into the low bar. Inside stalled her, puts her feet on the bar. Comb and each with a full. Nice exercise, Pammy Bileck. Good routine.
Very solid job by Bileck on the bars. I think the judges are going to have a tough time determining who's the better gymnast at this point.
You do that upright stalled her, okay? You should try to get your legs out, because then you get a better toe on, because you fall back and you're toeing better. You know what I mean? Even if you feel like you're not perfect, get it out and go on. You'll build up more swing. That's good, though. Good job.
What a clinic this is for the young gymnasts who are watching. He was talking about her stall and giving her advice. Let's take another look at her routine.
There's her Kreiskehr skill. Kips up. Very nice part. She comes in the bar, belly whip. Right here. Stall her. Up.
That's where he wanted her legs up high.
Right, that's correct. And a full twisting comb in each. Very nice. Difficult part, did it very well.
Well, he said, besides that, it was very nice. I think it was very great. She got a 9.6 and now takes the lead in the uneven parallel bar competition over Luci Collins and now has a .35 advantage overall. We'll be back with more competition for the women and the men. Still rings coming up for the men between Stacy Maloney and Scott Johnson. The still rings are supposed to remain motionless here in this event. And let's go over what the gymnasts are supposed to do while those rings are remaining motionless.
Leandra will have moves of both swinging and strength. In the past, the strength moves predominated. Now the swinging moves predominate. Also, we'll have kips, uprises, and handstands, and all kinds of variations to get into the different handstand positions. Giant swings, ways to get from one handstand to another. Also, a held position for strength. It'll be a cross or a front lever or a planche. Also, the ring should be still. It's the still ring event, not the swinging rings.
They're motionless now. Scott Johnson getting ready to perform and going to try to keep them motionless. Right now, he is 0.4 of 1 point ahead of Stacy Maloney in this event.
Scott is a very excellent ring performer. It's one of his better events. Of course, he really doesn't have a weak event, but if you had to select his stronger ones, the rings would be one of them. Pulls up, shoots up to support straight arms, lowers to L cross, and pulls right back up. That's extremely difficult. Presses to a handstand with straight arms. Scott does not bend his arms during his exercise. Straight arm giant swing, right back to the handstand. Very well done. Bails out, straight arm giant, the other way to the handstand. Preparing for his dismount, bail out, big dislocate, full twisting double back stuck. Beautiful exercise. Leandra, that's going to be tough to beat in any competition.
And you can hear by the applause from the crowd, they liked it too. Solid performance by Scott Johnson on the rings.
We get a chance to look at his mount here. He pulls up, shoots to a support with straight arms, and lowers right down into an L cross. That in itself is difficult, but he didn't stop there. He pulled right up. Also, his giant dislocate. Let's go of the rings, full twisting double back, and look at this. Stuck dismount, just the way it's supposed to be done.
Fine performance by Scott Johnson. We are waiting now for his score, and you're watching Stacy Maloney mentally prepare himself for this performance. 9.70 for Scott Johnson. His scores have been 9.5, 9.6, 9.7. They are steadily climbing as this meet continues. Now Stacy Maloney is getting ready to perform. His scores 9.3, 9.4. He scored a 9.35 in this event in the first round. So he's pretty strong on the rings himself.
Actually, Leandra, I think that 9.7 was a conservative score for Scott's routine. Now we get a chance to see Stacy. Stacy being stilled by Jim Howard, Scott Johnson's coach. Dislocate, straight arm shoot to the handstand, bail out, straight arm giant right up to the handstand. Very well done. Straight arm giant back to the handstand. One more. Very nice. Good still rings. Powers down, lowers down to the iron cross. Held plenty long. Back uprise to the L position. Now he'll be performing a press to handstand. Presses to the handstand with straight arms. He'll be now preparing for his dismount. Bail out. And a full twisting double back stuck. Good exercise for Stacy. Once again, the pressure's been on and everybody's been responding to it. Good exercise. All the difficulty he needed and an excellent dismount. But you get a chance to see the iron cross here, and believe me, this isn't something that you just walk into the gym and try. It's a tremendously difficult skill. Comes up, back uprise. Preparation now for dismount. He presses to a handstand with straight arms. Trying to keep the rings as still as possible, trying to keep a nice line with his handstand. He's going to push the rings away now in preparation for the dismount. Pushes them away, full twisting double back, and look at that. Perfect landing. Stacy Maloney.
9.45, the score for Stacy Maloney on that event. So Scott Johnson wins this event, but not by much. 9.7 to 9.45 in favor of Scott Johnson. We'll be back with more competition, men's vaulting, women's beam, parallel bars, floor exercise, lots of events still remaining. Don't go away. Two events underway, 9.55 for Pammy Bileck in the vault, 9.4 for Luci Collins. In the second event, it was the uneven parallel bars. Pammy Bileck taking that event by 0.2, 9.6 to 9.4. So our all-around totals show 19.80 for Luci Collins, 19.15 for Pammy Bileck. I'm sorry, that should be 18.80 for Luci Collins, so Pammy Bileck has the advantage. In the men's competition, three events underway for the men. 9.3 for Stacy Maloney on the floor X to 9.5 for Scott Johnson. On the pommel horse, 9.4 to 9.6. Scott Johnson taking that event by 0.4 of a point, the lead after two. After the third event, it was 9.45 to 9.7, 0.65 the difference, 28.15 to 28.80. I think we'll see an Olympic gymnast here for 1992. Men's vaulting is about to get underway. Stacy Maloney against Scott Johnson, and joining us in the booth now is A.B. Grossfeld, the men's coach at Southern Connecticut State College. A.B., your comments on the vault so far, what do you expect?
Well, I expect both guys to do good vaults. I've seen Scott a lot more than Stacy recently, and Scott does a real difficult vault, a laid-out Tsukahara.
This is Stacy Maloney, 9-1 in the earlier competition.
Okay, it has been impressive. So. It was a good vault. A good distance.
Mike Jackie, your comments?
Once again, Stacy needs a good vault here to keep himself in contention. It's unfortunate he's having an excellent day, but Scott has really been dynamite. We get a chance to see it from the side. Good heel lift here. Good hard push, getting in his tuck. Looking for his landing now. Slightly over-rotated. His shoulders weren't able to stop fast enough, so takes a big step forward, and that'll cost him a few tenths deduction.
And you are looking at Scott Johnson, who earlier scored a 9.45 in the preliminary rounds, while we wait for the score for Stacy Maloney. 9.40, it was just flesh. 9.40, the score for Stacy Maloney for that vault that you just saw. Now we're ready for Scott Johnson's vault.
University of Nebraska, Scott Johnson.
Scott will be doing a different type of vault than Stacy. Normally he uses a Sukahara with a full twist, a good aggressive run, looking at the board, hitting, good Sukahara full twist. One step back, very nice vault.
Scott Johnson still keeping the pressure on Stacy Maloney, although Stacy Maloney hasn't buckled at all under the pressure.
Way back on the board again. I mean, really way back. Yeah, about the same as yesterday. Probably 2/10. Then you pike down on the last part and you jump back. All you have to do is when you come out of the twist is...
All right, let's take another look at Scott's vault. A.B. Grossfield.
Scott, his legs go apart here, but it's a real good vault. Excellent form in the air. And like Mike said, a little out of control where he stepped backward. But the full twisting Sukahara is considered a little bit more difficult than the handspring front, especially when the body's straight, so it's a little more impressive. So you should get a better score.
His coach pointed out that he thought he took off too far back on the board.
Yeah, well, what that does, that actually gives you less spring because it's less spring on the lower part of the board. But it didn't affect him too much because he still got good action off the board.
9.6 was the score that Scott Johnson received for that vault, and now we are ready for the women's balance beam competition. Pammy Bileck, who received a 9.65 earlier in the competition, to take on Luci Collins. Bileck has a .35 advantage going into this event.
And as usual, the balance beam is a very critical event here for both girls. It's a very strong event for Pammy. She presses up to a handstand.
This certainly has been a turnaround event for most of the women involved in this competition. It appears that if you stay on the beam, you tend to win the all-around competition.
Definitely is a help. One arm back handspring. Half turn coming down the length of the beam. Tumbling pass coming up. Round off, full twisting back somersault. Oh, that's too bad. It's a very difficult skill. Very few girls in the world are doing that right now, and it's good that Pammy is doing that in her exercise because she will get more and more consistent as she continues to perform it.
She did execute that move in the earlier competition and stick it, which is why she received that 9.65.
Meeting a combination requirement where some other part of your body is in contact with the beam other than your feet. Just did a full turn. Going through the dance poses and the ballet sequences that are necessary on the balance beam. Back handspring, double twisting back somersault. Good dismount for Pammy Bileck. Well, Leandra, she had a real nice routine going. Unfortunately, she had that one fall, but it was on an extremely difficult part.
A.B. Grossfield, what went wrong with this full twist?
Well, it was a real good full twist, but you just a hair off because of the narrow beam. It's hard to stay on it. It's just touchy. The balance has to be perfect. And obviously, the balance is real off. This round here, nice double twist. Legs were a little crossed, but it was still very good.
You're never too good to be coached. Pammy Bileck receiving some words of wisdom while Luci Collins prepares the board for her mount, and we await the score. There it is, 9.15 for Pam Bileck on the balance beam. And that is a perfect 5 cents deduction for a fall from the earlier score that she received. 9.65, 9.15 is what will count in this competition, however. This is Luci Collins, 7th in the all-around at 82 USA Championships.
Luci needs a good exercise here now to put her in a good spot to go on to claim a victory.
She's down by 0.35, and that fall by Bileck just might help her. She can stay on the beam.
It's definitely true. She'll be preparing for first tumbling sequence. Cartwheel, layout, back, step out. Very nice. A little bobble, but she regained her composure. Full turn, nicely done. Preparing for another tumbling sequence. A split to a punch front, very nice. Kind of a scissor split or scissor leap, and then into a punch front somersault. Very solid.
It certainly makes tumbling more difficult when you have a connection in front of it, such as a leap or jump or another tumbling move.
She kicks up to a stag handstand and lowers down to a planche position. Now, showing flexibility in a Japanese split. She's doing very well so far. Very good fluidity, nice rhythm. No breaks at all.
Well, she handled that real well. That's a sign of a real experienced gymnast when you can be off balance like that and just compensate and stay on the beam.
Now preparing for a dismount. Very difficult dismount. Round off, double back. Oh, too bad. But she did the double back, and I know that's been a problem for her. But she made the double somersault, just overturned it a little bit. Here's this scissor split, and then watch this right into a punch front somersault. Extremely difficult because it's very blind. You don't have much room to land.
When you do a split leap like that, it's, your feet don't always land right on the beam. Here's the double. Well, just didn't get enough rotation going. She held on long. She felt it, so she just sat down. If you get good rotation going, you can prepare for the landing a lot sooner.
And Luci received some good advice from Coach Don Peters afterwards, possibly telling her how she can salvage that double somersault dismount. And we are waiting now for the score. And she did outscore Pammy Bileck, although not by much, 9.20. So Luci Collins has closed the gap between herself and Pammy Bileck, and it's now down to 0.3 of 1 point between these two gymnasts. They still have one event remaining. The men have two, and we'll show you the parallel bars right after this. They decided to put us all three on. A.B., I'd like to thank you for joining us in the booth. His commentary has been extremely helpful. And, of course, he is the head coach at Southern Connecticut State College and a former international competitor for our United States team a few years back. A.B., tell us a little bit about the future of men's gymnastics, how you think the United States will fare, let's say in '84.
Well, I think it's brighter than ever. We have a lot of depth in the country. We have 10 or 15 really top gymnasts that could compete with anyone in the world. And for 1984, it really looks good. I think we could push the Russians and the Chinese, who I consider the two best in the world right now. So I would imagine that we should fare real well.
All right, in progress right now, you are watching Stacy Maloney on the parallel bars. He is less than a point away from Scott Johnson in this head-to-head competition.
Nice diameter off by Stacy. That way front uprise, hop pirouette right to the handstand. Doing a very nice exercise so far. Stretch to the handstand. Preparing for the dismount. Double back somersault. Good routine. Landed a little bit low on that, but kept it on his feet. Didn't put his hands down. Good exercise for Stacy. It's one of his better events.
Yeah, Stacy did very well there. He's very solid on his arms. Stacy has very good balance, and he keeps his arms real locked all the time. So that's real good. There's a double back. As Mike said, he landed a little bit low. He didn't quite get the lift off his arms that he needed to spin faster.
So Stacy changing his grip, removing it, while Scott Johnson gets ready to perform, and we await the judges' scores. Stacy has been averaging about 9.4 so far, and the score he just received for that parallel bar performance is right on his average, 9.4. The lowest score he received was in Floor X, it was 9.3. The highest, 9.45 for ring, so he's right on this target of 9.4 for an average. This is Scott Johnson, who's been averaging about 9.6, and therefore he has a lead right now over Stacy Maloney. 9.55 was the score he received in the earlier rounds. And that, of course, would be good enough to defeat Maloney in this event right now. But let's see what happens.
Scott does many new things on parallel bars. I'm not sure whether he's going to use them here. A couple of weeks ago in Italy, against the Italians in Prato, Italy, Scott used his new routine. just check it out here. No, I don't think he's going to do his new routine there.
That's an extremely difficult combination he just did. Just pressed to a handstand. Swings down, stutz to handstand. And a double pike somersault dismount. Very nice. Just a little step at the end. But as most competitors do that dismount with a tuck position, Scott does it in a pike position. Makes it much more difficult.
Difficult for a couple of reasons. It's harder to rotate. Let's see if this coach is...
I know.
And we cannot hear exactly what is going on. Let's take a look at both gymnasts. We have Stacy Maloney on the left, Scott Johnson on the right.
Stacy does a front of rise hop pirouette to the handstand. Notice how quick the hands have to be in order to regress the bars. Now this is a stutz to the handstand. If you miss the bars, you'll fall right through. And here's his dismount, a double backward somersault. Kind of a low landing, but he stands right up there and keeps it on his feet. And now, on the right side, Scott Johnson, double back pike dismount. Nice landing, a little bit over-rotated, steps right in there. Good exercise for Scott.
9.50, so by 1/10 of 1 point, Scott Johnson has outscored Stacy Maloney in this event. And this is the women's floor exercise mat in the background. Luci Collins and Pammy Bileck. 3/10 of 1 point separates these two gymnasts. One over-rotation on a double back or a over-twist or under-twist. A twisting move could make a difference in the all-around competition between these two. Pammy Bileck in the corner mat, awaiting for the beginning of the music.
I think Pam, from what I've seen, I'd say she's going to be one of our... She might be the girl to beat this year. I'm telling you, she's doing terrific.
Very nice pike double back mount.
She has been involved in single elimination competition before, and last year she was such a little girl when she competed here.
She's a very nice dancer, does lots of nice things, very expressive. Round off whip back, flip flop, double twisting back somersault. And now a change of pace in the music. Preparing for her final tumbling pass. Good aggressive run. Run a flip-flop. Double tuck somersault. A little bit under-rotated, caused her to jump forward a little bit and put her hands down. That'll cost her a few tenths. But a nice exercise for Pammy Bileck. Just that one mistake, Abe.
Yeah, actually it was a good double, but she just misjudged the opening to land, and she just opened a little early. If you watch the round-off back handspring, oh, this is the middle pass. That's the whip back, and there's the double twist here.
She hit
Nice
this very well.
Yeah, very nice.
And she awaits the score. Unfortunately, she did have a fall. It wasn't a total fall, though. It looked like her hand just gave her some support in this event. And that nice double somersault. Pam is currently seated number 7. Luci Collins is seated number 3. The score for Pammy Bileck is 9.4. So Luci Collins, if she's to take the lead, needs to score 9.7 to top.
I would say Luci just really has to be at her super best. Any of these girls are capable of really getting a top score, but they really have to be up for it and just perform to the best of their ability.
Here's Luci's first tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, pike double back. Very well done. Landed low, but stood right up out of it.
She She has her right ankle rather heavily taped. Are you aware of any injury, Mike?
No, I haven't heard of anything, although it's not uncommon, just for strength support sometimes. Works very well to the music.
I think one of Luci's great attributes is her form. She really keeps her legs straight and toes pointed when she's supposed to. Even in tumbling like this front somersault, just pointed toes. It's real nice.
Double twisting back, very well done. Out of a front step out. A little bit of a change of pace here. Good dramatics to her dance.
Pretty good extension.
Very important tumbling pass coming up here. Round off flip flop, double twist back somersault. Well done. And a good finish for Luci Collins. Good exercise, Leandra.
Judges are going to have a tough time figuring this one out. Luci Collins hitting all of her tumbling. Excellent form throughout, but needing a 9.7. Was there enough originality and risk in this routine to net her a 9.7? Is it possible for that performance?
Well, it's possible. You never know what the judges are going to do, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be hard to get a 9.7.
That sounds like a coach's comment if I ever heard one. You never know what those judges are going to do.
Here's the tumbling pass, front step out, round off, back handspring, double twisting, backward somersault. Legs would cross a little bit there. She lands, stands right up. Good tumbling pass.
And her score is a 9.50. Not good enough to take the all-around title, but it was good enough to win this event. So Luci Collins, our floor exercise champion in this competition, but not the winner in the all-around standings. So Luci Collins is eliminated, while Bileck will advance. And we'll be back with the wrap-up of the men's competition. They still have one event remaining, and we'll recap all the scores for the women in just a minute. Point is a strong event for Stacy Maloney, evidenced by that score, 9.75 in earlier rounds.
This is Stacy's best event. He's been outstanding on this event in the preliminary round. High start, back uprise, wrong grip, stalled her, right back in, stalled her to a Tkachev. Beautiful, almost missed it, but he got in there. Right back in, stalled her hop, moving very well. There's another back stall there. Coming through, stoops his hands between his legs, into Eagle Giants, hop out, half turn, one-arm giant swing, right at the end, very difficult, preparing for his dismount, speeding up his giant swing, and a layout, full twisting double back. Real nice routine for Stacy Maloney.
He hit the nail right on the head with that performance. A very, very good job. 80?
Yeah, it was excellent. That stalled the reverse hecht, which is some people refer to as Tkachev, really is a little different style than a Tkachev, because that's usually done out of a giant. But it's real difficult. He did not just do it. He did it very well. He had the right distance from the bar. There it is. That's the end of it right there. It was just right. That's a little bit of a part that you might be able to hit him without value, where you just go and do a thing called a kip, which gets you to support, and then you go the other way. And the dismount here, it's an extremely difficult dismount, so laid out, full twisting double somersault, and he very good land, just a small hop, and he had excellent form, so it was an excellent performance.
And there is his score, 9.70 for Stacy Maloney. A great routine and a good score to reflect that performance. Now Scott Johnson is chalking up and adjusting his grips for his performance on the horizontal bar.
The grips you see there play a very important part in holding on, and they really have to not only fit well, but you have to have a tremendous grip. And you have this little piece of wood, a dowel, which helps hold you on the bar for the one-arm giant work. Which
Scott
only
Johnson, I'm sorry,
which only a couple of years ago was considered basically impossible.
9.7 was a score that Scott Johnson received in earlier rounds of competition. So it's conceivable he could give Stacy a run for his money to take the high bar title in this competition.
There's a stalder by Scott. Giant swing, one-arm giant swing, into a half turn right into eagle giants, and now back to inverted giants. Very difficult combination. Again, a one-arm giant swing right into a delta, or it's a flyaway half-turn regress. Very difficult part. Scott back on the bar, the giant swings, preparing for his dismount. Full twisting double back, stuck. Good exercise. What do you think, Abe?